Welcome to the Online Entrepreneur Experience podcast that details the ins and outs, the how-tos, and the ups and downs of living a life of an online business owner.
What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Online Entrepreneur Experience. This is my boy, Deuces, and I'm the Viking marketer. And we're going to blow your mind of every entrepreneur out there. So we're going to unlock something that is the most important thing. Like in this world, the most important thing that you need to be able to find success in business, entrepreneurship, all that good stuff. Are you ready for this, Deuces, bro? Like, are you good? Like, are you strapped in?
I am just letting you take the reins. I feel your energy through the computer, and I absolutely love it.
Love it. And this is coming from a guy that like 30 minutes ago was like, and this is what it is, guys, is when you know you have to show up and it's for a good reason, and this is my purpose, and I know it's Deuces as well. His purpose is to be able to make impact out there. Now, we don't get paid for any of this type of stuff. We are legitimately showing up just so you improve. So just know that. And that's why we always say, take a piece of paper, take a pen, write down some notes, because we're going to be dropping some bombs of value here. So what we're going to be going over today is the mind. The number one most important weapon that you have in your arsenal is your mind. And there's a big difference, and Renee's going to go into a little bit about the difference between an entrepreneur mindset and the employee mindset. And we all, at one point in time, except for guys like Jason Capital that never worked a job, which is super rare, we all at some point in time, worked a job, right? Like that's where all of our foundations are. So being an employee at one point in time, you have a certain different belief system, and being an entrepreneur, you have a different belief system. And for me, what a belief system is essentially how you see the world, your perspective on it, the lens, the scope that you see everything and make decisions based by. So let's just say that a TV show pops up on your cell phone saying your Amazon Prime video is like, hey, this new episode just came out of this show. Do you watch it? Do you not? And those are the scopes that you'll see and how your belief system works for your next decisions. So, Renee, why don't you break down a little bit? I know that you kind of wanted to dive in a little bit about the employee and kind of start there before we get too meta on people and dive too far down that rabbit hole.
So, as Mark said, we've all been an employee at some point in our life, or maybe you're still an employee right now. But when you are the employee, what you kind of focus on is the transaction that you are making. You're very transactional with your thinking and your mindset and everything like that. You think dollar figure per hour, your annual salary. What type of work do you have to do in order to exchange your time for that money? And it's a very transactional mindset, which is very limited. And that's when you get into that complacent, just day by day by day. That's when you can get stuck. And it's the opposite of the entrepreneurial mindset. Why don't you go ahead and start diving into that side of the coin?
For sure, man. And I think that's so much the epitome. It's just like, I'm only going to work this hard because I get paid this, because that's all that it's worth. And I remember managing a mechanic shop, and I would have guys that would tell me all the time, they're like, yeah, I could work harder, but you don't pay me enough to work harder. So I'm going to give you this amount of output. And it's so funny how people just rationalize these things in their brains that this is how it's going to be, because this is the transaction that I get put onto. And it's a very easy quantifiable thing when it's like that. It's like, I work 8 hours, I get paid $20 an hour, I just made $160, I go home, right? But the facts is, once again, it's just that belief system that goes in there. It's like, you believe you just made $160, but actually the tax man's coming to take out a bunch of that money. As an entrepreneur, you get a bunch of write-offs. So instead of losing 25% of it, so you just lost $40, an entrepreneur could maybe lose $20 because he gets a bunch of write-offs because of it. So it's not quantifiable. You get to think in a different perspective and a different scope, and you get a lot of benefits from it because you're not just put into this box system that's really easy. You get a ton of other benefits from it, right? And I heard this really, really cool thing of how somebody quantified this. So in business, all business guys, and I cannot say this enough to people, and some people think sales is a dirty word, but it is not. It's a very clean word. It is the most important word if you want to be successful in business or in life. And so with sales, like you have to make maybe sales calls, maybe it's messenger chats, something like that. So let's just say that you're throwing out offers. And how this guy broke it down to the other day was he's just like, so this girl, she made 18 calls. And she made, on her 18th call, she made a sale. I believe her commission on that sale was $400. So on those 18 calls, not everybody jumped on the call and everything like that. Some people hung up immediately. She hit some answering machines, but it took her 18 calls. She got the sale, $400. So how he said is like, how much money did you make on that call, on those 18 calls? And she's like, $400. And he's like, well, did you make that off the 18 calls or the one? She's like, oh, no, I just made that off the one call. He's like, no, you made it off the 18 calls, because everything you do as an entrepreneur has to be quantified into their overall spectrum. So you're thinking about it differently. So instead of being like, hey, I worked this 1 hour, I got paid $20. Well, that's great. Well, she worked 45 minutes. She did 18 calls, made $400. But she actually made per call, I believe it breaks down to about $22 per call. So she made $22 a call. It wasn't she made $17 of zero and one of 400, but she made $22 per call. And that is a massive difference between being an employee and having that next level entrepreneurial mindset, because it helps you get through all those maybe mundane task or maybe the defeating task to get to that one that actually pays for the rest of those actions.
You're on fire, brother. You're on fire.
I just bring it.
These value bombs. I can't even get a word in.
Sorry, bro. I'm all hopped up on this, worthy water. So, you just got to get it done.
I love it, man. Yeah. To further what Mark is saying is when you have that entrepreneurial mindset, you're not afraid to fail. It's called failing forward. So when you do fail, like this girl, she failed. If you think of it transactionally, she failed 17 times until she was successful one time. But that's if you're thinking of it transactionally. But she's learning every single call. So that's called failing forward. And that's part of having the entrepreneurial mindset, is the ability to find and be okay with failing, but finding where you can learn from that to move forward and become better, and just not think so transactionally on the everyday mundane tasks.
I think it becomes so overwhelming though, like when it's like that. You know what I mean? Like when you have to think of it as a transaction, like, holy man, like this is like, I'm getting nothing from all these things. And it's just like, man, maybe I'm doing all this stuff wrong. I should stop.
Yeah. No, I look at the entrepreneurial mindset, or even just building a business, like a carpenter or a furniture builder who's building, let's say, a coffee table. So he's building this coffee table and he puts his heart and soul into this thing. Do you think he cares more about the quality of his build or the transaction that's going to happen when he sells it?
Oh, if he's a good carpenter,
cares about the transaction, he's going to pump them out like this, and
exactly.
The quality is going to be crap. So it's the entrepreneurial mindset is more focused on building and learning and growing than it is for those transactions, if that makes sense.
Like massively, man. Like it becomes like you care so much more. So you're an employee if your belief system is like you said, just getting things out so you can maximize whatever. And those people, they get capped out really, really easily. And the thing about it is, if you have that other mentality and you start looking at things with a different belief system and you start addressing that first, because first of all, like, mindset is by far the most important asset and thing that you should be focusing on when you're first getting into business of any kind, because it is such a massive thing, because you're going to hit some hurdles, like Renee said, and to be able to push through them, you have to have a very strong mental mindset. So that all comes down to your belief system: is what do you believe, how do you see things, and how do you process things. And if you're thinking that you just have to get through each task, then you're probably going to stop at 6 out of 10, because you're like, nah, if I just have to get out all these things, I don't really fucking care. Whatever, I'm going to stop. Maybe there's always tomorrow. And then procrastination sits in and all those type of things. But if you actually have the passion for it, like the guy that cares so much about his finished coffee table, like, that's an entrepreneur right there. He cares, he has passion, he has a strong belief in what he's doing. So that rises his conviction. And that's why he's going to produce things that are going to change people's lives, going to change his own life, right?
Yeah, 100%. And to further that analogy, the people that are focused more on the transaction, and let's say you get a used car salesman and he decides he's going to become a carpenter and he's going to sell these coffee tables and he's going to make, $5 a week, and he's going to pump them out and he's going to make $1,000 profit on each one. And now he's making $5,000 a week. And, he's going to find fast success, but it will die out and it will not continue that way. But because I don't know about you, Mark, I don't want fast riches. I want long-term wealth.
Yeah, exactly. There's a massive difference, and I love how you just stated that. There's a massive difference between being rich and being wealthy, because being wealthy can't be taken away from you. But being rich, you can easily lose that stuff, because usually somehow you kind of lucked into it, kind of didn't really deserve it, and that richness will go away. It's just like people that win the lottery. I think the stat is like 90% of them go back to being worse off than they were prior to getting the lottery, because they didn't have the skills to be able to manage the money that they had. So they're so pushed past their limits, and then they end up failing hard and not having the skills to be able to rise back up. Which is super unfortunate when it's like that. And that's that difference between that employee mentality and an entrepreneur's mentality, right? And I think one of those things that is so massive is, as you're failing forward, you know that you need to improve. And you're not the person today, and let's just say that you're making $4,000 a month. You're not the person right now today, mentally, that's going to make 6 figures a month. And that's okay. So what you have to have that mentality and belief system is, one day you will get to that place. And if you're like, I need to, what is that, 25x? If I need to 25x myself, that is a fucking daunting thought. Like, that is scary. I have to get 25 times better. Like, not 25% better, 25 times better. Like, that's a big task. So, if you're thinking you're going to do that in 6 months, that's going to be pretty hard to do. But if you break it down and you're like, okay, over the next 3 years, I want to get 25 times better, what do I have to do? And if you think I just need to get 1% better per day, 1% better per day, then you can get there. And this is actually, it's not my kind of strategy or anything like that. A basketball coach named Pat Riley, Hall of Famer, amazing dude. I believe when he was coaching the LA Lakers, they went to the finals this one year, and they lost in the finals. I forget who it was to. I think it might have been the Celtics. And they came back the next year. They were super defeated. And like 1 month in, they're like, yeah, we're going to get better. We're going to be so much better than last year. And they weren't getting any better. So Pat closed down practice, and he's just like, guys, all I want from you guys is, I don't want you guys to all get 20% better, 30% better. I don't want that. I just want every practice for you guys to get 1% better. Do you think you can do that? Because all of their stats drop like 10, 15%, because they're all like, yeah, we need to get 20% better. And so they changed their mindset of just getting 1% better per game. Guess how much better their stats became over the course of the end of the season?
30%.
It actually was 30% better. 30% better over the course of the year, because he's just asked for 1%, and 1% was very attainable in their minds. So you had to break things down to being very attainable. So you're not just thinking of these grandiose goals or aspirations that are just defeating even thinking about it, where because you think transactionally that you won't be able to get there.
Yeah, so if you start thinking about, let's go back to the guy making a coffee table. If he wants to make $100,000 a year selling coffee tables, and now he starts to break it down to how many coffee tables he needs to sell, now he's becoming transactional. But if he just keeps getting 1% better every single table that he builds, eventually someone's going to pay him a lot of money for a freaking coffee table. So, and then he can call himself a master carpenter because he's built that skill set. And that's another part of entrepreneurial mindset is the skill set that you are building every day. And it's going to happen subconsciously or consciously, however you want to do it, but you will get better if you are putting in the time and the effort to just get that 1% every single day.
For sure, man. Like I used to charge when I first broke into the industry $100 for my mentorship. And now I charge upwards of $5,000 for my mentorship. And that's exactly it. With the carpenter, maybe it was only charging $50 per table. So you can only make so many. But once you get better, you can charge more because you're going to be, people are going to want your stuff more. So your price goes up higher because you're producing at a higher rate. So you can give people better stuff. And that is the issue with when you're working transactionally in that dollar and cents per hour kind of mentality. If you can only get like, say, an extra $2 an hour a year, well, you're capped on how much you can actually get past. So it's really defeating. So it almost makes you not push yourself, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, when you're stuck in that employee mindset, I hear it all the time. I'm paid by the hour. It doesn't matter. I'm paid by the hour. So it's just you become so like, you just show up for that check. And a lot of people say, well, I like the guys I work with, so that's why I keep coming here. It's like, no, you keep coming here because you want that paycheck, because you don't know any other way to make enough money in order to pay all your bills and quit that job. But guaranteed, if money was not an issue, they would all quit their job because there's only one reason they're there. And
100%.
Hopefully, they don't do what most people who win the lottery do and start blowing it on some crazy stupid shit. I read an article of a guy who won the lottery and he died because he was trying to get his genitalia gold plated.
No.
Yeah. Like, come on, dude.
Life goals, I guess, eh?
Transactional.
But bro, I've seen so many entrepreneurs like get in it. They make money and they don't know how to like do it before because they've never made that, and they crash and burn really quickly. But the beauty of that is if you're actually an entrepreneur, all those crash, burn, and then rise right back up, do it again, but then do it right the second time around. And I mean, that's exactly it. But once you have that skill set, that mindset, you forever will be able to continuously create wealth in your life.
Exactly. And that's why what Mark said before, the mindset is the most important part of the whole thing. You get your mindset, you get your belief system, you look through the proper lens, and you can see such a bright, abundant future.
Yeah, for sure, bro. It's like the golden meat and potatoes of it all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we all strive for. It's golden meat and potatoes. I guess that's what the dream is. I can't believe that, man. I never even heard that story before. But yeah, I think that's awesome. But I don't really have anything else to share. Just start getting 1% better every single day. Have that mindset. Be okay to fail. Stop thinking about every action needs to have some type of money because you're going to defeat yourself before you start it. And start being more like Deuces. Like, that's really what you need to do, right?
Yeah, sure.
I love it. Is there anything else you had, bro?
Like yourself, but 100% better every day.
Yeah. You are the best version of you, and tomorrow you'll be better.
That's right.
Love it. Love it. Well, we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give us some feedback. We will answer it.
Yep. That's right. Okay. Take care, guys.
Thanks for tuning into the Online Entrepreneur Experience. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes that we're releasing and any of these amazing pieces of value that we're giving out. And if you could take the time out of your day and leave us a review, we would be so grateful. We look forward to seeing you on that next episode.